Good morning, boys and girls, and welcome to another exciting episode of Adventures of the Broken Retired. I don't know why I have trouble remembering the name of my own channel. I find that disturbing. Anyway, this is Don with Adventures of the Broken Retired. Thank you very much for being here. Myself and my buddy, the Reckless Remote Elmer, going to take you through some conversation today, tell you a little bit about this, talk about stuff that doesn't make any difference, but why not? I want to go back to another story about Charlotte Street, or Charlotte Street, as it's actually called. And I want to set this up just a little bit. We moved out of the house on Charlotte Street in 1965. So the most I could have been was 6 years old. I remember my dad had an old Pontiac, like a 52 or 53 Pontiac. I remember that car. We went from that to a 59 Dodge station wagon. Charlotte Street, starting up at Fort Hill Avenue, Charlotte Street was kind of a slow decline, slow downhill. Went past the front gates of Sonnenberg Gardens. There's also Sonnenberg Park right across the street there. And the whole street, well, not the whole street, might have been. Would say the whole street was lined on both sides by these gigantic trees that were all exactly the same. I don't know what kind of trees they were. I was a kid, but I know that we used to go collecting what we called horse chestnuts. I don't know what they were actually called. They were probably close to golf ball size. Inside there was the nut. Inside was brown with a lighter brown, kind of like, on the inside they kind of look like a hazelnut. But we used to collect those all the time. And but the road was arched. The street was arched by those trees all the way down the whole length of the street. And it was always shady. It was always beautifully cool. It was always thick. Every fall it would be thick with leaves. I have a picture in my mind of what Charlotte Street looked like when I was a kid that I so wish I could print and send to you, because it was absolutely beautiful. One side of the street, the side we lived on, was the side that had the houses on it. The architecture varied quite a bit. The top half of the street, up towards Fort Hill Avenue, where Sonnenberg Park was, there were no houses on that side of the street. I don't remember the name of the street in the middle that led directly to the gates. But from that center section, if you go to Canandaigua, New York, and look at a street map, you can see. It might have some old pictures too. I probably need to check into that and see. But there might even be some old pictures because of Sonnenberg Gardens. There might be some old pictures. But Sonnenberg Garden is surrounded by a stone wall. Very, very nicely made. I think it's all limestone. And the top of it, all the stones are real pointy, so you can't climb over it. And there's huge gates, huge iron gates out front that lead into the place. But anyway, I was a kid living on that street. I remember going down to Fort Hill Avenue on the top end, Gibson Street on the bottom. I remember going down to Gibson Street on my tricycle down the sidewalk to meet my brothers and sisters at the bus stop, who were never very happy to see me, if I recall correctly. But, that's the kind of family we were. That was a beautiful time. And that house we lived in was huge. It had a dirt floor basement, 2-story house, and it had an attic like you'd see in a horror movie. That's the only way to explain it. The attic was huge. It was unfinished, and it was just big. It was almost like a whole other house up there. Of course, I was 6 years old, so that might be how it seemed. But the reason that I'm thinking about Charlotte Street and down there today, because I was thinking the other day, I remember being a little kid and pestering my mother to death. Bear with me just one second. Excuse me. I remember pestering my mother to death because I wanted some, and I don't know whether I think they were called Red Ball or something like that. Red Ball high top sneakers. I wanted some Red Ball high top sneakers. And I remember just pestering her to death for those Red Ball high top sneakers. And the reason that I wanted them was because they did what? What did they do for you? They made you run faster and jump higher. And what does every little kid want to do? Any little boy kid, I'm not sure what girl kids want to do. I've never been a girl kid. They want to run faster and jump higher. And so I pestered her until she got me some of those. And I remember very specifically pulling them out of the box. I remember specifically, but I don't remember whether I put them on or whether she put them on me. But I remember her telling me, you better not get these shoes dirty. You better not get these shoes all wet. You better stay out of the mud. You better stay out of the water. Da 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 da. Well, I put those shoes on, man, and I was outside like a shot. I was ready to go. I was ready to jump higher. I was ready to run faster. I had my new high top Red Ball tennis shoes on, and there was a little ditch that we used to jump over, and I went running as fast as I could, and I took off a little early in the air because I was running faster, and I could jump higher with these tennis shoes, and I stretched my legs out to make the jump. And unfortunately, you might have called the run faster, jump higher part false advertising, because they didn't make you run any faster or jump any higher. And my foot went directly in the center of that ditch, which had about 6 or 8 inches of water in it. And the very first thing, I hadn't had them tennis shoes on a minute. And the very first thing I did was soak them clean through with muddy water. I remember being very upset because I got them dirty. I don't remember how upset my mom was. Maybe she was nice to me because I was so upset. But anyway, false advertising. They didn't make you run any faster. They didn't make you jump any higher. But they sure were cool. I have no idea what ever happened to them. I don't remember ever wearing them after that. I just remember that one time. Tell you what else I remember. On the left front corner of the house, which was the neighbor's side, we lived, facing the house. We lived on the left. They lived on the right. So on the right-hand side of the house, on the front of the house, there was this big bush that flowered. And my brothers and sisters used to go out there with mayonnaise jars. And they would catch bumblebees, The bumblebee be flying around the little flower thing there. And then they'd go up there. They'd put a couple little sticks and some flowers in the jar. And they'd go up there real slow. And then they'd put the cap on and catch the bumblebee inside the jar. And man, I wanted to do that. They were doing it, and I wanted to do it. Of course, the bee would die, so you had to poke holes. Remember, you had to poke air holes in the top of the jar? So I wanted to do it, but they would never let me because they were afraid I was going to get stung by a bee, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I was a little kid. So I decided one day when nobody was looking that I was going to make my own mayonnaise jar, and I was going to go out there and catch some of those bumblebees. And so I found a mayonnaise jar, and I found a big old kitchen knife, and now I got to poke holes in that top, in the cover, on the bee jar, because that's what you have to do. You got to have holes in it. So I took the jar and I held it against me. You can't see in the picture. I held it against me like this here, right? A little bit lower. I held the jar against me like this here, a little bit down and closer to my belly button, and I took that big old knife and I went whack to stab a hole in the top of that jar. And I missed the jar, and I didn't have a shirt on. And I caught myself with the edge of that knife from about middle chest down to below belly button, and it didn't cut me open. I didn't bleed, but it cut a little flap of skin all the way down. Kind of like almost like I was peeling from a sunburn, but a little deeper. And right about that time, my mother caught me and did not approve of what I was doing. But I tell you what, you want to talk about a lucky kid? I didn't stab myself to death. You think about what could have happened, you know? Think about what could have happened. It's just incredible. Anyway, so there's today's truly incredible and interesting story from Adventures of the Broken Retired. I guess I got nothing to do but sit here and talk to a camera. I don't know. I'm expecting a package today, which should be a new friend. Welcome. Should be a package here sooner or later. I checked with Amazon this morning. It's at the local delivery facility being dispatched to a local driver or whatever. So we'll see what that holds for us. Anyway, thank you very much for being here. I really do appreciate you watching the videos. I hope that I provide some sort of entertainment. I hope that you decide, if you haven't, I hope that you decide to subscribe. Please comment, send the comments in. And thank you very much for being here. Elmer's going to get us out of here, see how many clicks it takes him. How many clicks does it take to get to the center of my camera? I guess is the best way to put it. I don't know. But, so, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, all that kind of good stuff. And don't forget to hit the notifications bell. And as always, thank you very much for being part of my channel. I really appreciate it. Let's go, Elmer. Let's go, Elmer.